Hey homeschool friends, welcome back to the channel. So have you ever researched a curriculum and wondered to yourself, like, exactly how long would this take during my day or during my week? So I have been making these types of videos for as long as I have been using Sonlight because I feel like they're so practical and so useful. So I have done it for HBL-B as well as the old Exploring American History. So look for those if you're interested in those programs. But today's video, we are going to be going through the current HBL-K as well as Science K. So we're talking Intro to World Cultures, and I'm going to just take you through all the readings. I'm going to open the books. I'm going to show you exactly how much you're going to be reading because I think that can be so useful. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, all the things. And so you guys, like I said, I'm going to be taking you through HBL-K and Science K. But before I flip the camera around and show you all the resources, I do need to say a big thank you to Sonlight for sending me some of these resources, especially the new instructor's guide, because this past year they switched K and A around a bit. And so yes, always a big thank you to Sonlight. Additionally, I always have a link in my description box. I sometimes forget to mention it, but it does give you $10 off your first order, so that's always fun. But with all that out of the way, let's just hop in. Let's hop in to first a little basics, like what programs am I talking about first off. So like I said, this is HBL-K, so that's Intro to World Cultures as well as Science K, because I love the history, Bible, literature, as well as the science from Sonlight. This does not include language arts. I will link some of my videos that I have made for Sonlight Language Arts in case you're thinking about kind of the whole program. But this is just science and history, Bible, literature. These two programs are geared to 5 to 7-year-olds or kindergarten through 2nd grade. And I would say this is spot on. I am using it currently with my twins who are 6 years old, and it's been working really well. And then on top of what I'm gonna show you, we do use a couple of the other optional resources that really enrich our school. Like for instance, we use the hands-on history kit. My kids love it, as well as the videos for the science experiments. They love the science guy. They think he's so funny. So we use those as well as the experiment kit that comes with science, and it just really rounds it out. So I'm not gonna show you any of that stuff. I'm just gonna show you the resources, like the actual books and the instructor's guide. So let's just flip the camera around and answer the question of how much reading is there in a day for Sonlight HBL-K as well as Science K. All right, hi everybody. I flipped the camera around and I'm in my working binder here, showing you a bit of week 22, which is the next week we are going to be doing. Now, I wanted to show you the week we were coming up on because I do make notes on my instructor's guides. I use them a lot. I tend to write the dates we're using. I tend to write if we're maybe skipping something, anything like that, I will write on my instructor's guide. When I first started Sonlight, I didn't do that, but now I just use it as best as I can. So I wanted to show you a grid that was not written all over. And so week 22 it is. And so you can see, like a classic Sonlight instructor's guide, you have the subjects and the books down the left-hand side and then the days of the week across. You have a reference for what week you're working on. And again, this is HBL Level K 4-day program. And if you look up here, the first subject is Bible. And we really have one main resource. When you're talking kindergarten, it is really pretty simple, but I love it. I think even though there are less resources than, say, the other program we are currently doing, which is HBL-C, which I do have a video coming out soon as to how much reading is in that level. But when it comes to kindergarten, there really isn't that much. I'd say one of the biggest resources, what you spend a lot of time on, is the Bible, which is wonderful. And the Bible for this level is the Ergemeyer's Bible Storybook. I really do think this is a wonderful resource. And so let me just take us into what we're going to be reading on this day. So for reference, I'm just going to take you kind of vertically down the schedule. I'm going to take you through how much reading is in one day. I might show you a little bit of some of the other resources to give you an idea of what they could look like, but let's just go through like what would one day look like, about how much time would you spend. So we are on page 340 to 344. And so for this, it starts down here where we are in Ezra 7 through 10, as well as Nehemiah. So it starts with Ezra teaches God's law. So you'd read this section, as well as the Nehemiah, the king's cupbearer. And then there's a big picture, and you'd finish up that section through this page, as well as the top part of here. So it's really, you're reading two sections, and it could be a lot for a kindergartner, to be honest. But I feel like the beauty of a program like Sonlight is you could just slow it down. You could just read maybe this Ezra teaches God's law in one day. And so you wouldn't be necessarily following this schedule precisely. And it just really depends on how that works for you. Some people might find stress in having to read this much. Other people might really like having the schedule to just tell them what to do. So they're going to read that much. And so it just depends on you as the mom and how well your kids sit for that. And you can see there really aren't any notes for this. There's actually just a timeline figure up here. And this is actually for HBL-K. A lot of the timeline stickers are the Bible timeline stickers, which I just kind of love because it sets up your timeline book to include all the stickers, the biblical figures. And in this case, it's Jesus. It's Jesus, and it tells you the years he was alive from 4 BC to AD 29. So you get to put in that sticker on your 4th day. So not this day, not when we're reading this, but I just wanted to point out that's what you would find in your notes. And then there's also memorization. And so for this program, there is a CD or there's downloadable MP3 files of this Sing the Word from A to Z. And on this week, we're on U, which is unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And it says here, you will continue to memorize this passage this week, which just means that this actually is a holdover from the week before you, because you could see that was actually kind of long. You're like, wow, that's for a kindergartner? Yes. And you could obviously be the parent and shorten that up to just like that first section or something like that they could memorize. But you do have 2 weeks to do it. So there are some weeks where the passage is longer and it gives you more time. And then that's also track 21 if you wanted to listen to it. But that's the Bible, is the Ergemeyer's Storybook Bible, as well as a bit of memorization. So that's what you have for Bible for kindergarten. And then you want to go down, and the next section is history and geography. So there isn't a geography program. It really comes from diving into where you are in your history readings and seeing if there is any geography associated. So for this day, we are in the Usborne Children's Encyclopedia, and it is internet linked, which my kids really do like. And so for on this day, we're looking at page 68 to 69, which is nests and chicks. I don't think that's right. That doesn't make much sense. Hold on. Let me see. Actually. This might help out. Okay, it still says 68 and 69. Icebox and refrigerators. Okay, that makes more sense. So that actually was a mistake. What I did was I just used the index to look up refrigerators. And this is actually the spread that we should be reading on this day. It's about refrigerators and microwave ovens, and it makes a lot more sense when you look at the discussion questions as to how to handle this. So this is perfect. So this is what we would be doing on this day. And you can see about how much reading there is here. And it kind of has a cutout of the fridge and how the condenser coils work and the stuff in the back of the refrigerator that maybe kids don't even realize that's how the refrigerator works. And the same with how does a microwave oven work. And it says scan the code to see how a microwave oven works. And then it usually brings you just to a small video clip on YouTube or someplace else. Obviously you can pre-screen it, but I have yet to have any problems with my links, and I just always enjoy using those. It's just a little extra for the kids. And then I would go back to our instructor's guide, and the next section is read alouds. So read alouds always include our chapter book as well as our poetry. And so for here, we are reading Boxcar Children. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this. My kindergartners already love these books. They listen to them on audio through our library app, and so I'm still going to read this because it'll be nostalgic for them and they would really enjoy it. And I just really like this first one. And so we are on chapter 5. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is the chapter called The Explorers Find Treasure. So you can see about how much reading that is. And as the program has gone on, it definitely has increased the size of the chapter books. Like it's a pretty slow progression here in kindergarten. And since we're in the second part of the year, I feel like the books have gotten a little bit bigger, the reading a little bit longer. And so that's chapter 5. So you can see about how much that was. So not too bad. And then obviously there is your discussion questions, and it says describe the refrigerator. So now you can see why we were looking at the Usborne Encyclopedia, talking more about refrigerators, because that was what they were making a refrigerator, right? I think it was out of the stream behind their little box car, if I remember right. So you have just a little bit here and they can kind of talk about that, especially after they learned more in here. So I really do enjoy how interconnected a lot of the resources are. And then you go down and it has a create a calendar, and I don't have that. For some reason I never did order the create a calendar, but it usually does come in your box. Anyway, it's where they can build their own calendar and label the days and put in stickers and things like that. It looks super fun. And then there's always a developmental activity. Our developmental activity is to straighten a drawer. How fun is that? So sometime this week, straighten a drawer, a kitchen drawer, a dresser drawer. Describe how a neat drawer looks. So it's just some very life skills, if you will, that you get to do with your kindergartners. Now, so that really is a day down, just vertically down the instructor's guide. And you can see it's pretty similar across. The only thing that really switches is on day 3, we get a new resource for history. And I did pull it out because it's one I'm really excited for my twins. And it's The Good News Must Go Out, True Stories of God at Work in the Central African Republic. Now, I love that Sonlight always has missionary stories. They tend to be near the end of the year, or at least I've noticed that. Sometimes that's not truly the case, but for instance, I'll show you about how much reading is in here for that. And it doesn't look like very much. We're only reading chapter 1. And it goes through here to there. So it was actually about a page of reading and a map. And I'm guessing, yes, there is some map work here, which is good because we want to know where the Central African Republic is. And so we just want to know what's going on, especially as this story starts out. It actually says to please use the questions found in the back of the book. Actually, let me talk about that first because some books do that. I've noticed there's good discussion questions in the resources they pick out. Like for instance, chapter 1, it talks about a passage in Joel, and then it has a couple questions. Like, what does it mean to ask the Lord to restore the years the swarming locust has eaten? So you can have conversations like that because they might be confused. And then it talks about some things you may add. This is not stickers. Gypsy Smith, who was an evangelist, Moody Bible Institute. But the things that you're really pulling out are the maps. And so with any map work, what we typically do is we have the maps that come with the program, which this is my intro to world history, but there are ones, the intro to world cultures. I just have it somewhere else. So you'd pull out your maps, or you would just get your globe, which oftentimes is what we do. We'd find North America. And then there's also Finland that is talked about here. And maybe we'd pull the globe, and then I would bring out the markable map, and I would get it to the right side, obviously not the US side, and I'd hang it up. I actually have binder clips to hang it on the wall, and then they'll get to use these wet erase markers to find out where Finland is. Even if they can't write Finland, I like to have them maybe color the country or something so they just have the starting of awareness of our world, geography, things like that. And so that is history. So that's the history, Bible literature for K, which I actually realized I forgot to mention this. This is the poetry. I forgot mainly because I don't tend to do the vertical for poetry. We do one special day of poetry tea time a week, and we read all the poetry for all the levels we're doing. But let me just show you what one day, and actually one spread this week. Sometimes there's 2. There's a day here and a day there. But for instance, this is a fairly long poem. And so this is only scheduled for one day a week. And so this is a llama who had no pajamas, which is actually the name of this really cute poetry book. Now, like I said, we also do use the science, and we have Science K. I did buy my science used, and they were missing a couple weeks, so I'm going to figure out what to read those weeks. Okay, so I picked week 21 to show you for the science program. And again, it's set up the same way. In this case, it's not the subjects down the side because it's just one subject, but it is the books and kind of what you're following here, as well as the week across the top. And so during week 21, we're reading this cute weather book. So these are one of those Usborne beginners books that we have been working through all year, and we're to the weather one. And so, for instance, here on day 81, we have pages 12 to 13, so just one spread again, and then activity sheet questions number 1 and number 2, which I will show you in just a second. So let's look first at how much reading that is. Again, it's always very minimal. It's really perfect for these ages, which is about what they can handle. And so this says electric skies. So this is talking about thunderstorms, what type of clouds thunderstorms happen with, what's going on up in the cloud, what makes electricity. It talks about the different types of lightning and how you always see lightning before you hear thunder. So, I mean, really, that's a kindergarten level, wouldn't you say? And then if you're curious what kind of questions I have always have the questions here. It's just questions 1 and 2, which I guess I can zoom in on. This is very simple. Thunderstorms occur when? And then, why do you see lightning before you hear thunder? And with kindergartners, I don't make them write this, obviously. They're still working on, proper formation of their letters and stuff like that. So we talk about it. And sometimes I write it out for them. Other times we just talk, and then I put a check mark here to say that we did it. And so that's it. These are the resources. There's a lot of richness and depth just reading a little bit out of these wonderful resources, and you can see it really isn't that much when you're talking kindergarten, and it shouldn't be. Kindergarten should be about delight. These things should be delightful, and I think they really are, or they have been for my family. So let me flip the camera back around, and I'll give you some of my concluding thoughts. So guys, I hope that was helpful. I hope seeing all the resources really makes it a little bit more tangible and practical. If you're considering any of these programs, I feel like this just helps me. It helps me plan out my day. It helps me assess if this will work for us, if we have enough space with all the other things we have going on in our homeschool. And so I hope that was useful for you. And again, I do have HBLB and the old American history on this channel, and next week, or maybe the week after, I'm going to be doing the same video for HBL-C and Science C. So if you're also curious about those, please stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, all the things, so that you don't miss that video, because it is really helpful. As well as, of course, I will be doing end of the year review videos. So I'll just review what we've been using this year, and including favorite books and all of that. But I wanted to make sure this video went out kind of early in the year as everybody's kind of looking at curriculum. So anyway, that's all I have. I hope you all are well, and I will see you guys in the next homeschool video. All right, take care, guys.